will go chest to chest in the first of 19 blood feuds. Chris Sale, second in the Cy Young voting last year, versus Luis Severino, who finished third. Two of the best pitchers in baseball, two of the best teams in the game. Some new faces have joined the rivalry, but the objective remains the same. Win for those who came before you and those now on stage. Pumped up? You should be. It's next, right here on Yes. It's a cold, overcast Tuesday evening, but on Lansdowne Street, they're heading toward Fenway Park, ready for the Yankees against the Red Sox. Nothing better in all of sports. And now it is time for baseball as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. Tonight, it's the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox in the first of three from Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees Baseball, along with David Cohn and Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. So Yankees Red Sox, you should have something special, right? Well, we have a special pitching matchup. We'll start with that because it is an absolute beauty. Brought to you by People's United Bank N.A. This is what Luis Severino and Chris Sale did against each other last year. In two head-to-head games, they both pitched very well. Luis Severino pitched better and got 2 victories for the Yankees. So Sale against Severino. David, you won a Cy Young Award. Those guys came close last year. Break it down for the people.
Well, it's what you want, absolutely. That's why Aaron Boone put Severino in the 1 slot. He's the ace. He wants him matching up against other teams' aces, and Severino looks the part. He clearly has confidence now. He's taking the next step, wants to be great. And, of course, Chris Sale, I mean, what can you say about him? He is the fastest player in Major League history, pitcher, to get to 1,500 strikeouts. He got there in over 1,200 innings. So Chris Sale, a dominant lefty for his generation. Before he's done, he's going to go down in history.
And now Giancarlo Stanton, who's gotten off to a rocky start, has to battle Chris Sale. Look at what Stanton did in the first 10 games. 7 for 42. He has the 3 home runs, 7 ribbies, but he struck out 20 times, including 2 5-strikeout games. So, Paul, you had some slumps in your career. How does he break out of this?
You always got to bring up the good news. You're talking slumps already. Giancarlo Stanton is a superstar. He's got a huge adjustment to make, and it's not always at the plate. It's coming to New York City. There's been so much written about what this team is going to do. He is going to put up numbers. Ask Tino Martinez if it's easy to get off to a good start. Ask Jason Giambi. These guys came in as accomplished hitters, and it's tough. New York is New York. Stanton will be fine. I don't know if he'll be fine tonight because Chris Sale's very good.
All right, should be fun. But all of baseball is talking about the struggles, really, of Giancarlo Stanton. It's been that rough for him. When we come back, Meredith Marakovitz, we'll have Aaron Boone talking about Giancarlo Stanton, the strikeouts, the struggles, and how he's going to break out of it. It's all coming up next, right here on Yes.
Giancarlo Stanton did not get off to the start he would have liked here to begin the 2018 season. He's batting just .167 with 20 strikeouts and 3 home runs during the first 10 games of the season. Now he'll try to get back on track as he gets his first taste of the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. One thing was abundantly clear before tonight's game: the Yankees are not at all concerned with Stanton in the batter's box.
I think he's very much prepared for this. You know, I've seen how he's answered some questions and been really, I think he's handled everything really well. And I think part of that comes from the confidence he has as a player. He understands once he locks it in that, shoot, he's an MVP. So I think he recognizes that. I think he sees the long game. I think he's grinding away at it. I mean, nobody likes to struggle, but I think he also has a good perspective on it, that he knows he just needs to keep grinding away and working, and eventually he'll take off.
There was a roster move today, so Shane Robinson replacing Jace Peterson. He'll get the start tonight in center. Brett Gardner has the evening off, Stanton in left, and Aaron Judge will play right. Plenty more to come here on the YES Network. When we get back, Michael Kay will be joined by Paul O'Neill and David Cone. First pitch coming your way after the break.
Visit TriStateBuick.com for great lease offers. By the New York Lottery, get out there and play. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on all models. That's the scene on Yawkey Way, outside Fenway Park. This ballpark opened up in 1912. And here we are in 2018 for the Yankees and the Red Sox. Red Sox have taken the field. We'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. Brought to you by Lexus. Yankees come into this game at 5-5. Neil Walker, the second baseman, leads off, batting second, and playing right field, Aaron Judge. Giancarlo Stanton in left field will hit third. Cleaning up the DH, Gary Sanchez. Didi Gregorius, the shortstop, bats fifth. Batting sixth, playing first base, Tyler Austin. Miguel Andujar, the third baseman, will bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Austin Romine. And the newest Yankee, Shane Robinson, will be in center field, and he is going to bat ninth.
And here he is, number 41, Chris Sale. And he is one of the most dominant left-handers in the game. Of his generation before he's done, Paulie, I think he's going to have something to say about the record books. And let's give you a little bit more in our pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And as I said, he's a move-the-needle pitcher. He changes the balance of power on whatever team he's on. He's looking to roll a 7. He's had 6 straight All-Star game appearances and 6 straight top 6 Cy Young Award voting appearances as well. So trying to make that 7 in a row this year. And power and precision, you know, I mentioned it in the pregame. He's gotten to 1,500 career strikeouts quicker than anybody in the history of the game.
Walker's ready, Sale's ready, and let's do it here in Boston. First pitch is low. We are underway. Larry Benn over the home plate umpire. Hunter Wendelstedt at first. Chris Guccione at second. David Rackley is over at third. Neil Walker 7 for 31 in the early going. And that one's popped up behind the plate and out of play. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Dave Coney, you talked about it. No left-hander has the right to have that sidearm delivery. His control in mid-90s to upper 90s stuff. It's just, as a left-handed hitter, it's unfair.
Well, you think about the greatest lefties in the history of the game, and you know, obviously Sandy Koufax, Steve Carlton, Randy Johnson. This generation, it's Chris Sale. And of course, Kershaw in the National League.
Count 3-1 on Walker. Aaron Judge on deck. Sale with a 0.82 ERA has not gotten a decision yet this year. The 3-1. Popped up. Ramirez in foul territory. Puts it away for the first out. Let's take a look at the Red Sox defense, which is presented as always by our good friends at Geico. In the outfield, it's the Killer Bees, Benintendi, Bradley, and Betts. That's left to right. Devers, Holt, Nunez, and Ramirez third and first. Vasquez behind the plate. Chris Sale's on the mound.
You're good friends with those guys from Geico.
Oh, absolutely.
You know that little lizard dude?
Know him very well.
Yeah.
The only insurance I've ever had since 17.
Is that right?
Really? Since the age of 17. Here's Aaron Judge. And there's a strike. Well, he does not do well against Sale, but that's not an exclusive club. 0 for 12 with 10 strikeouts, also was hit by a pitch. Now, if you want to have one negative about Sale, if you look at his career arc, he is definitely one of the best pitchers in the game. But when it comes down to the end of the season, he's very slight, he's very thin, probably could avoid getting wet in a rainstorm. That's how thin he is. And he wears down at the end of the year. There's a line drive base hit to left field. Benintendi cuts over, cuts the ball off, and Judge gets himself a single, his first hit ever against Sale. And that's going to bring up Giancarlo Stanton.
The boos followed him, huh, Coney? This when you're a superstar and you decide to go to the Yankees, come to the Red Sox game, you're getting booed.
Stan might be one of the few people who ever looked at leaving Yankee Stadium and going to Fenway Park as a bit of a respite.
You know, a lot of times when you're going through tough times, you see, this is extra work on just learning, you know, the green monster and how the ball ricochets off. And there was no batting practice on the field today. And that, as a player, is what you want to do, is take a lot of balls off that wall. Find out, you know, there's nowhere else in baseball that, you know, you play that left field wall like you do here at Fenway. This is where you don't want to be. Obviously, when you're going through tough times, is 0-2 off Chris Sale.
And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Stanton down on strikes. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. It's another awful night. 38 degrees, 73% humidity, not much wind. It's cold and raw, and there is a chance of rain. So another strikeout for Stanton, his 21st of this young season.
It kind of went up the ladder, and you see the live movement on that ball up in the strike zone. And again, when you're struggling, you get a little anxious. You leave the strike zone. Very hard ball to catch up to. It's Chris Sale.
Here's Gary Sanchez back in the lineup. Remember, he had a cramp in his lower right leg in the extra inning game on Friday against the Orioles. Did not play Saturday or Sunday. Now, Aaron Boone thought about having him catch today, but when he got up, saw the weather report, said, let me play it safe. I'll have him be the DH, and then he'll be back behind the plate tomorrow night. Sanchez has struggled. 2 hits and 32 at-bats. One of the 2 hits, a home run. The 0-1. 1-1.
Never bother you as you've been the #1 pitcher for many teams. Come out, throw a couple great games to start the year. All of a sudden you look up, Severino's 2-0. Sale doesn't have a decision yet. Did it frustrate you as a pitcher?
I think it used to frustrate pitchers more. Nowadays, it's a little different dynamic involved in how you evaluate pitchers. More numbers, some of the new metrics.
Ground ball to third. Devers backs up. He goes the short way, gets the force on Judge, and that'll do it. No runs are hit, no errors, and 1 man left. It's the Yankees nothing, and the Boston Red Sox coming to bat. It's brought to you by Lexus. Mookie Betts in right leads off. Andrew Benintendi in left will bat second. Hitting third and playing first base, a red-hot Hanley Ramirez. One of the newest Red Sox, J.D. Martinez. He'll DH. Rafael Devers at third base bats fifth, batting sixth. Former Yankee. Second baseman Eduardo Nunez. Jackie Bradley Jr. in center. Christian Vasquez will catch. And Brock Holt taking over for the injured Sandra Bogarts. He's going to play shortstop and bat ninth.
Mr. Severino, Sevy on the mound. Boy, it's been good. A good start, picking up right where he left off last year. He's been dominating, 14 Ks, only 4 walks.
And here's Mookie Betts. Pitch outside.
Let's go ahead and give you a little more about Sevy and the Pitcher Scouter Report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. And his stuff travels well. I mean, he's had 7 consecutive road starts of 1 or 0 runs allowed. That's the second longest streak since 1908.
High fly ball, left center. Robinson turns and plays it off the wall. Betts is at second. Now he's going to third, but he'll stop and head back to second with a inning opening double. Both Stanton and Robinson looked as if they had a beat on it, and then they turned and played it off the wall.
It's a weird time of night. It might be kind of you lose the ball or you just expect this ball to go off the top of the wall. You have to have it known between the center fielder and the left fielder which guy's going. It actually did go off little higher in the wall than I thought. But which guy is going to go for the ball and which guy is going to play the ricochet? It throws.
Here's Andrew Benintendi. That one's blocked by Roma. Now, Paul, when you first came to the Yankees, you played left. Was this a difficult left?
This is the hardest one because you play so shallow. There are some advantages. You have a good opportunity to throw guys out, but a lot of balls that you're accustomed to going back on, you can't go back far because it hits the top of the wall, and it just, like I said, it takes a lot of time in batting practice. I can remember coming out with coaches and having them ricochet balls off the wall just to find out where they're going to go. They didn't have that luxury today with Stanton not being able to get out there with no batting practice.
So you'd rather play in the old Yankee Stadium with the deep left center than here?
Well, your legs wouldn't because there wasn't much running involved, and vice versa. You look around, center field and right field, probably the hardest to play in all of baseball because of the corners so short in right field, and it felt like it just went forever out in right center field. So, it's just kind of a, historically kind of a quirky ballpark. Just a lot of angles, a lot of different ways the balls can roll around out there.
So Betts is at second. A 2-1 count on Benintendi. Severino misses inside, now 3-1.
Well, Shane Robertson's been in the big leagues for a little bit. As you see, Severino will finish up that scouting report. Death by slider. This year, opposing hitters are 2 for 25 off of his slider and 12 strikeouts, just an .080 batting average. And he's the ace. I mean, no doubt about it. That's what Aaron Boone said. He's leading the staff, and I think he's up for the challenge.
And he walks Benintendi. Put runners on first and second and nobody out. Let's take a look at the Yankees defense presented by Geico. Stanton's in left, Robinson is in center, and Aaron Judge over right in the infield. It's Andujar, Gregorius, Walker, and Austin. That's third to first. Romine's behind the plate, and Severino's on the mound.
Well, Benintendi is the one guy that has been kind of struggling in the lineup. Severino now walking him, setting up a double play, but also a guy, Hanley Ramirez, 8 RBIs already so far this year. So, a guy that knows how to hit in these situations.
And he usually hits the Yankees up for home runs. 8 home runs in his last 25 games against the Yanks. Pitch is low. So Ramirez 12 hits and 37 at bats. The numbers against Severino 4 for 19, including 9 strikeouts. Missed outside, 2-0.
So you see Severino blowing on his hands. Umpire gives you that, Coney, but I mean, you can speak much better than me. I remember picking up balls in the outfield on cold nights. There's just like ice on them. They're slippery. It's very hard to get a good grip on the baseball.
You got a tough start here in the first inning. One pitch, one mistake can be 3 runs.
Rounded up the middle, and that's going to get through for a base hit. Betts will score. Heading to third is Benintendi. It's an RBI single for Ramirez, and the Red Sox lead 1-0.
Severino got what he wanted in a ground ball, but it seemed to find a hole up the middle. It's just something about Fenway Park. It's very conducive to scoring runs. See Hanley Ramirez right back up the middle. Finds a hole. Chris Sale got a lead early.
And an early trip to the mound by Austin Romine to talk things over with Severino and settle him down.
He made the right pitch, 2-0 slider. Got the ground ball, but Ramirez got just enough of it and right back up the box. And Severino kind of falling off the mound.
Here's J.D. Martinez, the Red Sox big free agent signing. He swings and misses.
Martinez has the luxury. He's not off to a horrible start, but very kind of mediocre for the numbers he put up last year. But when your team is 8-1, the press has trouble condemning anybody. So That's one thing. If the Yankees as a team, play a little bit better, get going here, and then a lot of the things about Stanton aren't the headlines.
1-0 Red Sox, bottom of the first. Did he go around? Yes, he did. So Martinez down on strikes, one away. Big strikeout for Severino.
Yeah, it certainly was, Michael. Now you still can get a double play and get out of this inning again. As Sale did to Stanton. Ball up out of the strike zone. Very hard to catch up to.
Just seems like when hitters are struggling, right? The pitchers know it. They smell it, and they're always down 0-2. Similar to that bat as Stanton had in the first inning.
That'll bring up Rafael Devers. 323, a home run, 9 ribbies. Fouls it away.
This Red Sox team, Paulie, and you remember from last year, they're good fastball hitters. And for Severino, Mookie Betts jumped him on a fastball early in the count and getting that off speed going. You see Devers tried to jump him there. A good slider to keep them honest on the fastball.
I think we got introduced to Devers last year when he took Chapman deep off a fastball in Yankee Stadium, and it was like, wait a minute, here's a lefty catches up to 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and a young kid has got a bright future ahead of him, obviously.
He's 6 for 10 in the early going with runners in scoring position. First and third here with 1 out. Chasing Ramirez back. Had 10 games against the Yankees last year, 3 homers and 6 ribbies with a .306 average. One and two.
You go up and down the lineup for the Red Sox, and if you're a starting pitcher and you're going over with your pitching coach and your catcher, you know you have to get into a pitching mode early against this lineup. You've got to show them that you can get your off-speed stuff over. So Severino, good job getting to this point on Devers. 1 and 2. See, now you start to get greedy. Maybe I can get a strikeout here.
The 1-2. Fouled away.
Yeah, I was almost going to ask you that, Coney, early in the count. You try to get a ground ball double play, get out of this inning, and then all of a sudden, you get ahead 1-2. You have to kind of go back to your strikeout pitch, which is your slider or that fastball out of the strike zone.
You definitely think about it right here. And if you're Romine behind the plate, you think about a slider down and in.
2-2.
That's the pitch that lefties I used to know, especially against you, Coney. You used to love to make me skip rope back there. That slider down on your back foot, very hard to lay off. On TV, it looks like an easy pitch to lay off, but that's just a natural pitch for lefties to look down and in.
2-2. 3-2. Now, do they send Ramirez? He's stolen 2 bags already this year and has not been caught. We've got Benintendi at third. The veteran Ramirez is at first. And the new manager, Alex Cora.
Very surprised. And Severino's strikeout pitcher, Romine, throws the ball pretty well.
Runner was going.
I'm up here, right?
And Devers ends up walking to load the bases. So a rough first inning here for Severino, but so far just 1 run. 2 walks, 2 hits, and a strikeout.
Managers are going to be a little more careful about mound visits, obviously, nowadays. And Romine's already had 1 this particular inning, so.
And this is a huge time of the game right here. Bases loaded, 1 out. This was always, looking back, a mound visit from the pitching coach to get on the same page.
Eduardo Nunez fouls it back.
Nunez, a free swinger, obviously coming over last year. Boy, did great things for the Red Sox. Really kind of turned their year around when he was traded over. Added a lot of energy to this lineup.
Yeah, one of the best deadline moves last year by any team.
Loop to first base, and it's caught there by Austin for the second out. Broken bat, and he just looped it over to the right side.
Oh, I tell you one thing, that's just not a broken bat. That might be a broken finger too, because on cold nights, you see this gets in right on that handle and just shatters the barrel. You go back to the dugout and you're mad that you didn't drive a run in, bases loaded, huge at bat, but you're also trying to figure out what fingers you can get back by the time you take the field.
So the umpire said that was caught in fair territory. Here is Jackie Bradley Jr. Bases still loaded with 2 outs. Oh, and 1.
Well, I tell you what, you talk about an inning that could have been a big inning, or an inning that you walk off the mound and think, man, I just dodged a bullet. And this is the hitter right here. Severino has an opportunity to get out of here with 1 run. It's a big inning for him.
And David, doubly important, triply important, is because you're facing Chris Sale.
Yeah, and any pitcher that tells you, no, I'm just facing the opposing lineup, yeah, okay, I got you, but you know who's pitching on the other side. You know it could be a tough night for runs.
Looks like he's having more problems with that slider, Coney, and I'm sure on a cold night, that's probably the toughest pitch to get a hold of.
Yeah, that's how he lost Devers in that at bat. Trying a couple sliders and couldn't get him in the strikeout spot. Falling behind Bradley here, 2-1.
Swing and a miss. And the count is now 2-2.
The guy in this lineup that the Red Sox have scored so much this year that this is the one guy that hasn't hit his hot streak yet, coming in hitting 115. So Severino has an opportunity right here. Get a hitter that's not swinging the bat well and get out of an inning.
And he gets out of the inning by striking out Bradley. All things considered, he'll take it. 1 run, 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. Let's go to the second. Toyota, the Camry Hybrid is the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees. What do you think about tonight's marquee pitching matchup between Severino and Sale? One of the respondents, 2 aces going head-to-head against one another. These are the games people mark on their calendars. 2 potential Cy Young winners who throw gas. Should be a lot of swings and misses tonight. A big swing and a miss on Jackie Bradley Jr. to end that bases loaded threat. So down 1-0 to Chris Sale on the Red Sox as we go to the second inning. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Camry Hybrid keep the conversation going. Here's Didi. Off to a great start, 12 hits in 32 at-bats, 3 homers and 10 ribbies. It'll be Gregorius, Austin, and Andujar. The 0-1. Now, Sale is known, David, as never shaking off his catcher. Ever. He said, I don't want to think on the mound. Were you ever like that, or did you think too much?
Probably more the other way, definitely.
Found it. Back to Sale, and he tags out Gregorius on the way by, 1 away. Andy was like that, right, at the beginning?
He was. Andy got towards the end of his career, he started to call more of his own shots, so to speak. It can work. It depends on what type of personality you are. And yes, if you get distracted easily, then put it all on your catcher and just worry about execution instead of selection. And Mark Burley was a prime example of that as well. Helps you work faster, takes that worry off of your mind. And then you can blame the catcher afterwards. It's his fault. Put down the wrong fingers.
You have to trust your catcher, though, if you're going to play like that.
You do. You have to trust your catcher. And Chris Sale, when you have 3+ pitches, I mean, pick one. I mean, there's not a bad choice.
That one is looped into right field. That's going to be a base hit for Austin. Chasing it down is Ramirez, and Austin picks up a 1-out single.
The check swing and a beauty right there. Every once in a while, as a hitter, you get one that you shouldn't have, and this is just kind of a check swing that it catches the barrel of the bat just enough. Wow. Eyes on the baseball, right, Coney? Even in slow-mo, it's going to look weird.
Yes, Mo, brought to you by your Tri-State Mercedes-Benz dealers.
It's a phone booth swing right there, right? Can't hit the glass.
That's going to bring up Miguel Andujar. And a strike.
A lot of times these are the matchups that kind of match up well. Andujar, these young guys, you can't throw it hard enough for him. So he's not going to be overpowered by the fastball.
Sale's never seen him before, not real sure.
Fly ball, left center. Benintendi puts it away for the second out.
Cold night. You were a sleeve guy, weren't you, Coney?
Yes, makes no sense to me at all.
I look at Sale, no sleeves on. A lot of pitchers say they can't throw it, and then I look at Austin over there, and I had wools on and everything. You wanted to be warm out there. Whether you're uncomfortable or not, who cares? You wanted to be warm, right?
I wanted everything. We used to have the Dickies too. You could put up around your neck, like the mock turtleneck you could wear. They had it all. They have the dry fit apparel now. Almost like you're skiing in Vermont.
Austin Romine swings and misses.
Yeah, Romine so far this year has been swinging the bat really well. He's given Sanchez an opportunity to not be behind the plate. But I always thought that backup catchers early in the year much easier because they're just coming from spring training. They haven't sat for weeks and weeks without playing a lot. And then over the course of the year, it kind of catches up to you. Your at bats slow down a lot. Boy, I tell you what, Romine, on paper, one of the best backup catchers in the American League.
That's a great point, Paulie. Last year when Sanchez got hurt, Romine stepped in and did a really nice job. And then as the season wore on,
kind of catches up.
Yeah.
Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. So Romine is down strikes. And that'll do it here in the second. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning. Red Sox 1 and the Yankees nothing. only on HBO.
I spoke to Austin Romine about Luis Severino earlier today, and he told me one of the biggest areas of growth he's seen from Severino over the last 2 years has been his composure on the mound. He added Severino's an intense guy, but he's now found a way to channel that energy in a positive way, controlling his emotions and his stuff throughout the game. He also said he loves going against the other team's best. He wants the spotlight, and even more than that, he wants to prove that he can shine in those spots. And you talk about composure, we sure saw it in that first inning. It could have been a big inning for the Red Sox, and he was able to bear down when it mattered.
All right, let's see if he settles down here in the second, as the count is 1-1 on the number 8 hitter, Christian Vasquez. 29 pitches so far for Severino as we start the bottom of the second. 1-0 Red Sox. He struck out Bradley with the bases loaded and 2 outs to get out of the first. Could not hold up. Count 1-2.
Oh, virtual reality there, huh?
Like it.
Swing and a miss.
Have you ever tried that yet? It's unbelievable.
You've done it.
It's unbelievable. If you put on a virtual reality, I've seen it done with the NBA, where you could just turn around and you could be wherever you are in that arena. I can't wait for Yes virtual reality.
Really?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's like a 3D experience of what
So
you're
you
watching.
were like shooting hoops in the NBA.
No, I was watching the game, and you could like concentrate on just one player. Ground ball up the middle, a base hit. So Vasquez leads off with a single. So he's getting ground balls, but they're certainly finding holes.
Yeah, this ball off the end of the bat too, and it did found a hole up the middle. See a slider just off the plate, right off the end of the bat. But Coney right back to the stretch.
You know that where's Jim Cott would say something about that, right? The pitcher, those balls right back up the middle. Nowadays with the shift, it doesn't come into play as much. But pitchers fielding their position, right? Severino so much into his delivery that he kind of falls off the mound.
Here's Brock Holt. He is playing shortstop in place of the injured Xander Bogaerts. A very freak injury as he slid into the dugout and broke a bone in his ankle. They say he's only going to be out in about 2 weeks, but he was off to a great start.
Yeah, offensively, he was a big part of this lineup and a big part of the start that they've had.
And that's tonight's injury report brought to you by Montefiore, doing Morrissey the start that he's on. 7 doubles, 2 home runs, 9 ribbies, and OPS of 1.111.
A lot of ones in.
A lot of ones. Fractured left ankle.
I don't know. I had some fractured ankles in basketball way back in high school. I don't ever remember coming back in 2 weeks. Huh?
A little surprising that they said that fast.
Wishful thinking. You look back here at what happened. He kind of flipped it over there, and as he slides into the dugout, went over the edge and
they say it's a crack in his talus bone.
I'm gonna text my son here, find out how that talus bone works.
He got some serious distance on that slide, right? Right over the concrete, dragged his ankle.
Now text the doctor, son.
Yeah. Aaron
Think he would know.
Yeah, but Aaron probably wouldn't be able to help me at all.
2-2.
Well, Brock Holt, one of the guys that Boston uses all the way around the field. Plays a little outfield, a little infield. Stuck him in tonight with the tough matchup.
Strike 3. Catches the outside corner. 1 away.
Can tell by the body language Holt doesn't like it. This is a changeup. And credit Austin Romine for a quiet glove. Now on the box. Very, very close. There's a little margin for error on the edges. We've seen the strike zone kind of change, Paulie, trying to, get the umpires to call more high strikes and less pitches off the plate. We've seen that. It's kind of gradually starting to happen.
And I think it makes for a better game. I think that, you know, as a hitter, you love the ball in the strike zone, high or low, but it's the ball off the plate that, you know, you have to dive out to get. And, you know, as a pitcher, Coney, I mean, when you know you're getting 2 or 3 inches off that outside corner, I mean, it makes pitching a lot easier.
There's some pitchers in the Hall of Fame that took advantage of that, right? I mean,
yeah, a lot of them down in Atlanta.
Yeah, those guys. You know, I was watching a replay of the '96 World Series the other day, and they showed some overhead cams. One of the first time they showed the overhead cams, and we were getting 6 inches off the plate. I mean, the strike zone was different in the '90s. It just was. And
I mean, there was that infamous, I think, playoff game. Eric Gregg was calling Levant Hernandez. He was throwing the stuff a foot off the plate, and this isn't a big game. So, you know, what they have done to try to make it more standardized as a strike zone, I think only helps baseball.
And gradually it's coming, and, you know, there's definitely more technology. You see it here on our broadcast with the box. You know, some people like it, some people don't. I personally like it. It gives you instant feedback. It also shows you the framing skills of the catcher.
Lined into left field in front of Stanton. A base hit for Betts. He's 2 for 2 as Vasquez moves to second.
Betts off to a great start, and he's just a great hitter. He's a good baseball player, and he does a lot of things. But boy, when he gets in these hot streaks, the slider, just not a lot of bite to it. And a good spot right on the outside corner, but not a lot of bite at the end. Betts lines it to left field.
Severino at 42 pitches, 1 out into the second. So even if he keeps wiggling out of jams, he's not going to be long for this game throwing this many pitches. Here's Benintendi, who walked in the first inning. Fouled away.
It's a prime example of a young player, you know, not panicking. Off to kind of a tough start, but it was his 10th walk on the year, leading the American League. So, you know, the worst thing you can do as a hitter, especially a young hitter, is to try to go up there and force things to happen. Try to get hits on balls that are outside the strike zone, and then you know, instead of 0 for 10, next thing you're 0 for 20. And half of the at-bats you go back and look at were pitches that you can't handle.
He looks like a different guy with a haircut this year, right?
Another mound visit as the Yankees are down to 4 with 2 visits. 1 in each inning by Romine. The 0-1. 1-1 to Benintendi. Line drive, a base hit into the right field corner. It's going to hug the wall. 1 run scores. Betts is rounding third. They are waving him home. He'll score. Benintendi is at third with a 2-run triple, and the Red Sox lead 3-0.
Benintendi got a good read on what Judge was going to do with this ball, and he ends up at third base. But, you know, you talk about the start that he got off. Huge hit the other day that helped them in that comeback win. He hit a double. Another hanging slider. Ends up down in the right field corner. Good solid swing.
You end up just speeding up the bat when your slider takes a seat, sits right in the strike zone. And once it gets down in this corner, Paulie, you can speak to that. You know that's going to be a triple.
Yeah, you got to make it as a right fielder, you've got to guess. Can I get to it before it gets by me? Because it'll roll all the way out into that bullpen, and it's such a straight line from the foul pole. No other place in baseball do you play that as a right fielder. See, it just comes straight down there, and you know, if that ball goes around here and you make the bad route to it, it could go for an inside the Parker.
Yankees have the infield in for Ramirez in the count 2-0. No one up in the Yankee bullpen at this point. It's 3-0 Red Sox. Fouls the fastball back, 2-1.
And we talked about Severino working on his slider all spring, the improvements. His first 2 starts, a lot of depth in that slider. And tonight, maybe like you said, Paulie, the weather a little bit, but he just hasn't had that really wipeout slider. And that's how he's given up some hits. He hasn't been able to put away hitters. It's a pitch that he really relies on, especially with 2 strikes.
You see him when he's at his best. It's like he's controlling the at-bat. It's like the hitter is always on the defensive. And, from pitch 1 today, it just looks like he's not in control of the at-bats. As good as his stuff is, he hasn't been sharp enough to put them on their heels.
Ramirez with an RBI single in the first inning. And he gets another RBI here in the second inning as that one dunks in front of Stanton. Scoring is Benintendi. It's 4-0 Red Sox. And here's Larry Rothschild.
Again, just not hammered. Ball gets in, actually breaks the bat. Hits the ball's got up the middle, and now this RBI single, the broken bat. He's put himself in some position with a lot of base runners that cheap hits will drive in runs.
Just not getting the swings and misses that we've seen. We talked about Severino getting a lot of strikeouts on that slider and just not being able to miss the bats tonight so far. Already against Chris Sale, the damage is done. 4 runs on the board, and the pitches, as Michael mentioned, 30-20 strikes to balls is not a ratio we're used to seeing from Sevy.
So the Yankees have made 3 mound visits already. No one up in the Yankee pen. And you never really cry uncle on a game, but 4 runs against Sale's a lot, and you don't want to burn your bullpen out by having him pitch 7 innings. So maybe you say, I'm going to get the most I can get out of Severino tonight in terms of length.
That's part of it. That's absolutely a valid point, especially here just in the second inning. At some point, it turns around on you. You want to protect Severino as well.
There's a changeup, and I was just going to ask you, Coney. I mean, your slider's really not there. Your fastball's okay, but you're not pinpointing it. You've got a third pitch you can go to, and that's his changeup right there. Might be something that you want to use a little bit more until you can find that slider.
Yeah, that's one of the first swings and misses he's gotten on any secondary pitches. We saw him strike out Jackie Bradley Jr. with fastballs up and out of the zone.
Now, last year, Yankee starters were great against Sale, 3-0, 1.08. And that's how you beat a Sale. That's how the Yankees used to beat Pedro Martinez in the day. You'd have somebody Matt Zeros with him and get into the bullpen, but the Zero's not the case so far tonight. (3-1). 3-2.
As soon as we talk about it, Coney, he throws a good 3-1 slider right on the outside corner. Martinez obviously thinking, yeah, you're going to throw it to me.
Ramirez leads off first. 1 man out. He goes. Fly ball deep right, going back. Judd still back, and he'll make the play in front of the wall for the second out as Ramirez heads back.
I'll tell you what, Martinez in the back of his mind is like, wow, this is a home run in any other ballpark in the American League for sure. Probably baseball. Cold night, fastball way, hammered to right field, deepest part of the ballpark. come right into your living room right before it hits his glove.
Aaron Judge, so smooth out there, too. Made that play look easy, and it was not.
Runner goes, throw to second. It goes into center field. Ramirez gets up, heads to third. Robinson throws to third, not in time. So the Red Sox being aggressive, although up 4-0.
This is a stolen base on the pitcher, Coney. I mean, Ramirez was guessing on timing. Romine has no chance whatsoever. Throw out Ramirez.
It's really 2 times in a row where Ramirez just took off when Severino has not even started his move towards home plate. You can see him, he's gone. So just a hunch by a veteran player that, hey, this pitcher's not paying attention. I'm going to take off.
Devers with a ground ball to second. Walker will make the play, and that'll do it. But the Red Sox score 3 on 4 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. We're going to go to the third. It's 4-0 Boston. $15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By GMC. Visit tristategmc.com for great lease offers. And by People's United Bank, where the technology is as helpful as the people. So we go to the third inning, and it's been all Red Sox against Severino. Sale has given up a hit in the first and in the second, but a 0 on the board for the Yankees. So 4-0 Red Sox. And Shane Robinson takes upstairs 1-0. So they took Jace Peterson off the roster, and they bring in the right-handed hitting Robinson with Sale on the mound today and Price tomorrow. High pop-up on the right side. And the catch is made by Nunez.
Not a lot of wind, but Nunez still, this ballpark I remember because it's so low that the wind really affects the ball. I mean, there's sometimes, you know, you would think the ball was in the stands and the wind would blow it back into play. Just one of the odd things about a ballpark that is, you know, this low. There's no upper deck to it.
There's Neil Walker. And there's a strike. The view from right field, that's a view that Paul enjoyed for many years.
It wasn't so bad out there. A couple things looking at that shot I can remember, because that is exactly the way you look. I can remember the hit that Mike Mussina gave up when he had the perfect game going, and there's just a lot of memories when you walk. This is the first time I've been here in a while, and there's certain things that just hit you right in the face when you walk into Fenway Park. Kind of the smell of that tunnel coming down the Coney. Can you ever get rid of that? It's just, it's musty. It's just, it doesn't go away. It's been here too long.
Still got to be careful getting up in the dugout. You bang your head on the roof.
Oh, always.
You're sitting on that bench. See, that's Andujar right there. If you stand up from that position right there, you'll
doink.
You'll bank your head.
Fans rough, particularly verbally to you?
Yeah, in a fun way though. And you know, there were other cities where you kind of took it. It's like, really? I mean, what are you doing here? But the rivalry here, I did have a tough time explaining to my kids why there were people had T-shirts that say O'Neal sucks on the back of them, and they were selling them outside. My kids couldn't understand, but now they laugh about it.
I bought 10 of them.
Did you? Yeah.
They had worse ones than that.
You grew out of them? Is that what you're telling me?
Two. So Walker battling Chris Sale. David, as I'm watching him, I'm getting cold that he has his arms out. Like, I mean, why does a pitcher do that? You said that you bundled up, but why would pitchers do that?
It's got to be psychological for him. Maybe he just feels like it gives him an edge.
It's like the offensive linemen in football in cold games, they don't wear long sleeves.
You're going to get beat up and hurt anyway. You might as well freeze too.
That was the old Bud Grant, the great football coach in Minnesota. The Vikings had that theory. You go up into Minnesota and play up there in the middle of the winter. No parkas. Show the other team, we're going to psych them out. Some pitchers don't like sleeves. Some pitchers actually, they don't like the feel of them. They feel restricted with something on their arms. I was never that way, but possibly Sale may feel that way, or just might be a psychological advantage. He's out there on the mound, it's cold, and he doesn't care.
That's a nice at bat for Walker. Oh, what a play by Holt. Throw to first, not in time. Just grabbing that ball before it got into left field. Nice play by Brock Holt.
Yeah, every once in a while, the end result of the play doesn't even bother you, but boy, just all-out dive, knocking this ball down, very athletic, got rid of it, no chance. Great play, though. But you know what? On the other side of that, Coney, as you watch this play in Yesmo, I think it looks better. You look at Chapman in July when it's 90 degrees and he's got full sleeves on, just sweating bullets,
Judge swings and misses.
Yeah, Dwight Gooden was that way, and he wanted the sleeves to help soak up some of the perspiration.
The 0-1. That one is ripped into left center field. It is a base hit. Cutting it off in the gap is Bradley, and he holds Walker to second base. Good play by Bradley. Yeah, second hit for Judge.
Sorry, Mike. You almost get the feeling that you're going to need a big blow here. You're going to need a 2-run, 3-run homer, because you're not going to string together a lot of walks and singles. You put yourself in an opportunity now, where you could hit a fly ball out of here, and you're right back in this game.
Boy, when you're struggling, you come up in big spots. It seems like it's an automatic. So first and second, one man out. Here's Stanton, who struck out in the first inning.
A lot of times, Michael, I've said it in the past that these are the best at bats to try to get you out of funks, because you you don't think about what's going on. You understand what kind of an at bat it is. You think about let's just drive this runner in, and it kind of clears your mind of all that cloudy stuff that's going on.
You just think fastball when you're struggling like this?
I thought fastball all the time. I wasn't really a guess hitter, but you know, I think you start looking in certain spots, and I think that's where you start freezing on pitches down the middle, and it just, you kind of overthink things. You look at that. That was his pitch. If he goes down here, now you look back. You know, Sale actually missed. Granted, it was 97, but he missed out over the plate with a ball that should have been up and out of the strike zone.
The 0-2. Now, Aaron Boone has explained Stanton's struggles by saying mechanical, just a little bit off. Do you believe that New York has anything to do with it?
I do, 100%. I think it's a huge adjustment, and you're trying a little bit too hard, and then that turns into all of a sudden, okay, I struck out 5 times, to picking up the paper and to hearing the fans boo, and it kind of snowballs on you. This guy right here is the MVP of last year, and he has a talent to do a lot of things.
Chased a high fastball, strikes out for the second time.
Again, for the second time, striking out with a ball outside the strike zone.
Check this out, Paul. You mentioned this in the open. People coming to New York who had really good careers with the Yankees. Tino started off very poorly, hit a grand slam in Baltimore to break out of it. Jason Giambi, 8 for his first 38. A-Rod, 7 for 37, 189. And Mark Teixeira, 7 for 34, 206. And we don't even have Didi.
Yeah.
Didi last year was, you know, people wanted him sent down to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Not last year, the first year he was with the Yankees. So there has to be something to it.
It's an adjustment. There's no doubt about it. It's, you know, it's a time adjustment, a mental thing. I mean, there's so much more around. You know, there were so many lofty expectations this year coming into the year. That's all you heard about was Stanton and Judge. How many home runs are they going to hit? And that's the important thing. It comes down to just coming out and playing the game of baseball and winning style baseball. And again, these are balls outside the strike zone that you swing at because you're frustrated and you want things to happen.
Well, Yankee fans can't believe it. I'm sure that Stanton's having a hard time. You know, 59 home runs and 132 ribbies. This is not an average player. As Paul said, the reigning National League MVP.
You could tell Sale just smelling blood. Just goes right after it with fastballs and on up the ladder. Didn't even mess around with off-speed pitches.
Again, another guy who is a tremendous hitter. Gary Sanchez missing a pitch, fouling off a pitch right there. And that's, you know, you look up at the board, 061. Gary Sanchez could hit 061 blindfolded. But when you foul off the good pitches right there, sooner or later, Sale's going to make his pitch, and you're going to be walking to the dugout.
Sanchez 2 for 33 this year. Hit into a 5-4 force in the first inning. First and second, 2 men out in the third. Yankees now 4-0. An opportunity here against Sale. How much do you think it could be with lack of familiarity? You know, he mentioned some of the Baltimore pitchers he had not seen.
Well, again, the longer you've been in the league, the more you have these mental scouting reports on guys that you've faced before. And when you face guys as a young player and you don't know any of them, you swing the bat. You see the ball, you swing the bat. As you get older, you start to trust on what you've seen before, and all of a sudden when you haven't seen somebody, it is a different at bat.
Foul back here, still 1-2 on Sanchez. Well, he's deep in thought right now. It's hard to get away from the struggles. I mean, that's how you earn your living.
about Stanton, and as I look at the everyday player, and they go through a horrible slump, okay, well, then they can get hot. But they can't get hot to the point where they can absolutely hit 10, 15 home runs in a month. I mean, this is the kind of guy that he is. He can throw up those kind of numbers in a short period where the everyday player can't do that.
Fouled away. .44 pitches for Sale with 2 outs in the third. Yankees need a big blow, just get back in this game. They're down 4-0, 2 runners on, 2 men out here in the third, and a 1-2 count on the cleanup hitter and the DH, Gary Sanchez.
You watch Gary Sanchez last year when he was really going through great times. It just seemed like everything was kind of slow together. There's a lot of movement going on now, and a lot of times that'll happen when your leg kicks off a little bit. You know, your head moves a little bit, your shoulders, and all of a sudden it's very hard to kind of lock in on the pitches that you can do something with.
Yankees have 4 hits against Sale. Red Sox 6, and the Red Sox lead 4-0. Swing and a miss. Gets him with the off-speed pitch, and he strikes out the number 3 hitter and the number 4 hitter to get out of problems. Yankees strand 2. That is your #1 Yankees app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Yankees home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Look at that, he's two-fisted. A hot dog in one hand and a phone in the other.
No, it's the same. It's consistent.
Oh, yeah. One and one as Severino tries to find his groove as Nunez leads off. Did he hold up? Yes, he did.
Severino in desperate need of a quick inning here. Some early at-bats and outs.
Now, David, I can't ask you this because if a pitcher's struggling, he can't be thinking about it when he's pitching. So let's move our attention to left field right now, Paul. Is Giancarlo Stanton thinking hitting right now?
Absolutely. You know, it's going through your mind because you have mental you have breaks between pitches, and all of a sudden it's like you go back to hitting. Or lack of, most of the time. When you're hitting well, you know, you just can't wait to get to the dugout when you walk back into that batter's circle. But boy, when you're struggling, it's just like from the moment you get up in the morning to you go to bed, there's just times where it just keeps re-entering your mind, and you can't get away from it.
Is that how you were in 2000 when you struggled, David, that year?
Yeah, you're miserable, without a doubt. I mean, this is early in the season. I mean, my struggles majority of the season. Like, it does wear you down. You know, you need something tangible for your efforts. You need to feel like you're validated. That whatever you're working on, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're strategizing is going to pay off. Just you know, you hear it a lot of times, and Paulie's heard this many times, where it just takes one swing, something, you know, where he catches up and hits one pitch and feels something. And it was the same with pitching. Some sort of mechanical issue you might be working on, and all of a sudden you feel it, and there it is. The light bulb effect goes on in your mind.
Fly ball, center field. Robinson is there. 2-0.
I've said it many times, Michael, when you're struggling, say you go 0 for 15, 0 for 20 even, and it's just like when you walk in that box, you just think that you look out there and there's like 19 people playing defense against you. And it's just like, I don't know how I could ever get a hit. And then all of a sudden you get a couple of hits and you're out there as Stanton is, and you're thinking, how can I ever go through that 0 for 20? It's not that hard. And it you know, kind of goes back and forth throughout the year. Much easier up here, Michael. You know that?
I would think.
Yeah.
One thing you can tell on the mound when you're facing a hitter that you know is struggling is he indecisive. We saw it in the last at bat with Stanton, a fastball right down the middle by Sale, and he swung at it, but he was late. And then he got another fastball, and he was late. So you can kind of sense that on the mound where there's a little indecision. You know, you can tell when a hitter goes up there and, well, I'm going to take a strike. You know, I'm struggling. I'm going to try to get a good at bat. I'm going to spot the pitcher a strike. Boom, right down the middle. Then,
right down the middle, it happens.
Here's the 0-2. Up the middle. Grabbed by Gregorius. Fires to first, and Severino gets himself a 1-2-3 inning. Exactly what he needed to get himself back into the game. We go to the 4th inning. It is 4-0 Boston.
worked well for Chris Sale. Look at the catcher. Vasquez, almost Yogi Berra style. Give it to me up here now. Let's go down in the dirt with the slider. And Paulie, we talked about the strike zone changes. Once again, changing the eye level, going up and going down rather than side to side. It has really served Chris Sale very well so far tonight.
An 11-pitch bottom of the third inning for Severino. Just what the doctor ordered. And the Yankees will go at it again against Sale. And here's Gregorius. And there's a strike. Didi, Tyler Austin, and Miguel Andujar here in the fourth. Audi scoreboard shows the Red Sox up 4-0. That one is looped over Devers into left field for a base hit. Yankees have a couple of those hits. One by Austin, now one by Gregorius.
Well, it's been that kind of night. A lot of balls in off the hand, and the balls just, you know, it's like hitting a rock on a cold night. I'll tell you one thing. Once you get to first base, you can shake out those bumblebees, and you're happy you're there, believe me.
The distinctive sound, right, of the cracked bat.
Severino had a good inning. You know, if the Yankees could just score 1, 2, just to get back into this game, I think Severino could, you know, coast through a couple innings and give them an opportunity to get this game.
Austin takes inside. Now, we talked about Severino or Sale not wearing the sleeves. If you remember, Sale was the guy who cut up the uniforms in Chicago because they were too constricting. So he feels very strongly about having his arms free.
Not just his union, everybody else.
Everybody's, yeah.
He's got a little overboard. He didn't know what number it was. He just started hacking them all up.
The club, he didn't have the alternatives ready either. He had them out to the laundry and nowhere to go.
He got fined quite a bit for that, too.
That fined and traded, right?
I think the trade was a good thing for him. 1-1. Foul back 1-2. The only Yankee with a home run against Sale on the current roster is the guy at the plate, Tyler Austin. Hold up. He said he went, so Austin is down on strikes.
Well, they call it going up the ladder for a reason, and it's one rung at a time. So there is such a thing as good command up in the zone, and Sale's had it, as you see, just above the ladders there. Not too high, just high enough to where he can't get to it, but still will offer at it.
Here is Miguel Andujar.
Yeah, Coney, if you're sitting at home thinking, well, why doesn't everybody do that? You know, hitters see the ball well up, and that's why you see a lot of check swings and swing through the misses. But not everybody can pitch up there successfully. You have to have life on your fastball. You have to be able to throw hard. You know, if you're throwing 92 when you throw that pitch, a lot of them are going over the monster out there.
Yeah, the risk reward. If you miss down too much, it's a home run pitch. If you throw it too high, they don't even offer at it. It does you no good. So the good command up the ladder, one rung at a time, really important.
0-2. Coming into this game, Sale with a 1.75 ERA against the Yankees. And that's the best ERA of any pitcher with a minimum of 10 starts against the Yankees going back to 1920. And there's the list. And also, last year against the Yankees, he had 50 strikeouts and 34 innings pitched. So that was good for 13.24 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is amazing. And then you look at 1999, Pedro, 15.75 strikeouts per 9 innings against the Yanks.
And that's back when strikeouts weren't as prevalent either. So if you go by rate, versus the average back then versus now, there's probably 30% more strikeouts nowadays in the game today than there was back then. So that makes Pedro's feat even more impressive.
None of those strikeouts were yours, right, Paul?
Oh, I was on that list many times, I'm sure. I remember coming back one night in New York when he and Clemens were going at it. One of the best games I've seen pitched. Trot Nixon ended up hitting a home run to right center field and coming back to the dugout one time, striking out, and I looked over at Tino and said, hey, at least I fouled a couple off. Because I mean, he was that good, and it just, I was being serious.
One-two. Swing and a miss, and Duhart down on strikes. Speaking of strikeouts and Sale, single season strikeout mark: Pedro, Sale, and Roger Clemens. 300+ strikeout seasons by lefties: Sale, Kershaw, and Randy Johnson. Johnson did it 6 times. Pretty impressive list to be on. There's Austin Romine. Outside. 1-0.
If you compare him to his contemporaries, what he's done since 2012, Chris Sale's got 12 Ks in a game 28 times. He's almost lapped the field. The next closest is Kershaw and Kluber, who have 16 each since 2012. So. Gonna add one to Corey Kluber's list from his big game last night.
Nunez shades up the middle for Romine. 1-1 count on the Yankee catcher, batting 8th. It's 4-0. Red Sox over the Yanks, top of the 4th inning in Boston. Two and two. Gregorius at first. And the pitch. So the count goes full at 3-2. That'll release Gregorius at first. 3-2, 2 outs.
Just a little bit down and a little bit in. Romine, good job taking, but couldn't hit it anyway.
Ooh.
You don't want to swing at that one.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Chased the pitch upstairs, and Sale rings up 3 more strikeouts. No runs a hit. 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. 4-0 Boston. Yankees Tote Bag Day, and the first 40,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees tote bag courtesy of MLB Network. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. First pitch strike to Brock Holt. Here's the 0-1. 0-2. Audi scoreboard 4-6-0, leading 0-5-1. Strike 3. Holt down looking. So 6 in a row retired by Severino.
Good smart pitch there. You're trying to save pitches, Coney. You get 2 strikes. Don't mess around. Threw a fastball right there. Let's move on.
.72 pitches in 3 1/3 innings. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. Yankees are 5-5. Red Sox off to a great start, 8-1. The only game they lost, they blew a lead on opening day. Now, Alex Cora did something today that surprised a lot of people. New manager, 42 years old. Last year, the bench coach for the world champion Astros. And he admitted that he made a mistake in the last game. He said, we scored 6 runs to take the lead. This was against the Rays on Sunday. He said, and I got so giddy, I forgot to take out J.D. Martinez in right field. He said, I just forgot. He said, and that's my bad, and I should not have done that. So not many people will admit that, and he did. It's a learning process. Some of these new managers, like Mickey Callaway and the Mets, have gotten off to a fine start. You see the resume there on Cora, what he's done. Actually won a world championship with the Red Sox as a player. But Mickey Callaway forgot to take out a pitcher. He was standing on mound, a pitcher was hurt, and then they decided they had to take the pitcher out. And he just stood there, and everybody's looking at him, and Dave Allen said, you have to signal for the pitcher. Because he'd always been the pitching coach with the Indians. He never signaled for the pitcher. But it's kind of fun that these guys are admitting, we're kind of learning on the fly.
You know, it's funny, in the old days, you would bring up a rookie manager, somebody with no experience, and it was kind of like a rebuilding process. You bring them into a team that, the manager would learn as you kind of turn the team over. Now, I mean, Cora, Boone, these guys are stepping into prime opportunities with great teams. These first-year managers.
Benintendi wraps one to left field. That's going to be over the head of Stanton. He'll let the play off the green monster. Betts is rounding third, and they're going to hold him up. A double for Benintendi, who now has a double and a triple and another double. A walk, a triple, and a double to put runners on second and third.
Something that still hurts, and you'll watch Benintendi's really starting to get his swing together. Lined this one to left field after he pulled a slider to right field the time before. But Betts coming around third off the green monster, thinking you're going, and then right at the last second, third base coach holds you up. And boy, I tell you what, it still to this day hurts my feet and toes. His first-year manager.
Benintendi wraps one to left field. That's going to be open. So the Yankees bring the infield in for Hanley Ramirez. Has a couple of RBI singles. 4-0. Red Sox looking for more. Swing and a miss. Tommy Kahnle is up for the Yankees.
A little different sound when it hits off the green monster up the numbers.
Yeah.
They're a little looser. Almost like a drummer.
That's right. That's your hi-hat there, Cody. Got a little tin to it.
Fly ball right field. On the run is Judge. He'll make the play. Tagging is Betts. He'll score. And moving to third is Benintendi. Another ribby. This time on a side fly by Ramirez. It's 5-0 Red Sox.
Oh, again, Aaron Judge getting a good break on the ball, making a good play down in those corners. But again, Severino has put himself in position where sacrifice flies and cheap hits they've scored runs.
Well, Hanley Ramirez is getting good at bats now.
Yeah.
And he's becoming a run producer again. If you think about the offseason, the Red Sox, I don't know if they were counting on him. In the early going, he looks like he's back.
Well, the thought was when they signed Moreland, and then they had J.D. Martinez, who's essentially their DH, where was Ramirez going to get these at-bats? But now Moreland, a left-handed batter, is on the bench today, and Ramirez now has 11 ribbies on the young season. J.D. Martinez swings and misses.
If Hanley Ramirez is back, then he's got to play. And you're right, Michael. I mean, there was talks of Boston being in the Hosmer market for a first baseman. They did give a 2-year deal, I think, to Moreland. Gave some money up.
That one is chopped to short. Gregorius across the diamond gets Martinez for the final out. But a walk, a double, and a sac fly, and the Red Sox have another run. We're going to the 5th. It's 5-0 Boston. As we go to the 5th inning here at Fenway Park, it is 5-0 Red Sox on the GMC scoreboard. Shane Robinson, the number 9 hitter, will lead off against Sale. It's Robinson, Walker, and Judge. And a strike. Robinson popped to Nunez in the 3rd inning. Yankees signed him today. Jace Peterson departed and promptly in the lineup. 0-2. And he swings at a ball in the dirt. They get the angle. One away.
Tonight after the postgame, don't miss the premiere of an all-new Center Stage with Michael Kay as Emmy-winning actress and New York's own Sarah Jessica Parker sits down to discuss some of her iconic roles. It's only on Yes.
I can remember when she used to come to the ball games at Yankee Stadium.
Well, you know who her favorite Yankee was? Just look to your left.
Is that right, Coney?
Oh, yeah.
See, you fooled a couple of them, Coney. Huh?
If she only knew, right?
Pitch outside. A little bit of a divided family, she revealed, because Matthew Broderick, her husband, is a Met fan, and she's a Yankee fan.
She had much more to cheer about over the years, huh?
Fly ball center field. Bradley is there. Let's check out some exit velo, team exit velo, brought to you by Spectrum Internet with faster download speeds and better performance. So most batted balls of 110 or more miles per hour. The Yankees have the most with 12, tied with the White Sox. Rangers 11 and the Orioles 10. That doesn't really mean much because none of those teams are off to great starts. But they're hitting the ball hard. Here is Aaron Judge. Judge, who had never had a hit against Sale before tonight, has picked up 2 singles. Hitting .325 in the early going. Deep drive, center field, turning and looking is Bradley. See ya! Deep into the center field bleachers. The Yankees are on the board at 5-1.
Tell you what, there's just some kind of awe feeling. You knew right off the bat where this was going, and that's a deep part of this park. Aaron Judge, I tell you what, he's got things going. What he does tonight, 3 for 3 off a pitcher we've talked about all night, and a pitcher that had his number. Boy, this one went deep into the cold night in Boston.
Stanton swings at a high fastball. 5 in the early going.
Gonna have to upgrade that.
Deep drive, center field.
The exit velocity, 116.3 miles an hour and 444 feet on an upper 30s weather night in northern New England.
It was hit so hard that Bradley couldn't give it the courtesy jog. He just turned and watched it over his head. So the Yankees on the board. And a 1-1 count on Stanton. And there's a base hit for Stanton as he takes it through the right side of the infield. Pick up his first hit of the night.
See, this is the ball that Stanton can handle with that really closed stance. The ball out over the plate. What a relief.
Well, Sale has thrown him nothing but fastballs tonight. Out over the plate.
The ball was hit hard, though. If you look at that swing, I mean, he had a lot of balance in that swing, where before, you saw him kind of coming off the ball, even with that closed stance. And if you look at somebody who's been struggling, it usually doesn't you just don't turn the page immediately. It's kind of a gradual thing, a couple good at bats here, a couple good there. You just hope that this is the start of something. See how everything is behind the ball, nice level swing, hit it where it's pitched.
Although on the ground it went 115 miles per hour in terms of exit velocity. Sanchez swings and misses 1-1.
And what you're looking for with this Yankee lineup is for these guys to get hot together. Judge goes deep, Stanton gets a hit. Now Sanchez comes along for the ride and get you right back in this ball game. You kind of bunch your hits together collectively.
Popped up. Vasquez makes the play for the final out. But the Yankees get on the board. A majestic home run by Aaron Judge and a single by Stanton. We are halfway through. It's 5-1 Red Sox. Royale, Salt Lake. Watch coverage on Yes 2 beginning at 7, presented by Etihad Airways and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Also, the match will also re-air later that night on Yes after Yankees coverage. So we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Devers, Nunez, and Bradley. Big cut. Devers walked and grounded to second. 2-1. GMC scoreboard 5-1. Boston leads.
Aaron Boone's hoping to get Severino through this inning, if possible. Pitch number 88.
And Devers down on strikes.
Going to see Shane Robinson in center field for the Yankees today. Aaron Boone already said that Brett Gardner will be back out there tomorrow, but they're even more optimistic that they get Aaron Hicks back by the weekend. He started his rehab assignment with the Rail Riders, and tonight he played 5 innings in center field, went 1 for 3 with a single. That obviously would be a big piece to get him back in the outfield.
You know, and Aaron Boone spoke about it today. He said, you know, no excuses. He said, you know, we're 5-5. We'd like to be better, but we'd like to get our lineup back too. They've lost some pretty important people. There's a fly ball, deep center. Going back is Robinson. He makes the play on the warning track to retire Nunez for the second out.
You kind of lose sight up here, Coney, on a cold night, how the ball doesn't carry. And then you watch that ball the Judge hit. You know, Nunez hit that ball pretty well, but on a cold night, the ball just has no carry to it from a hitter standpoint.
Up high on the third base side here at Fenway Park. There's a base hit to left field off the bat of Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, I'm fortunate enough to be up here during the commercials listening to David and Paul talk, and you know, I admire the way you guys admire Aaron Judge's swing. Not just that home run, but he seems to still have it going on. He hasn't taken a step back from last year.
You know, and he had a big offseason. I mean, his face was plastered everywhere, from video games to magazines. And, you know, you as a player, you know, you have that year, and you're like all off-season hearing about it, to the point where when you start the season, you have to live up to it again. And sometimes that's hard to do. But, you know, Aaron Judge has taken this stuff so well as far as the media and the attention. And I tell you what, he's impressed me tonight, defensively and offensively. And he doesn't hurt you in any way on the field. Obviously, he's going to go through his times where he gets under the ball a little bit. He'll strike out here or there, but boy, he's fun to watch from a fan standpoint.
I think you tend to try to figure out, okay, what's he going to be? What's he going to settle into after that great first half of last year, and then the struggles that we now know were probably due to a shoulder injury that he got cleaned up in the offseason with surgery, to the great finish last year, a good postseason as well. What he is just a fantastic athlete. He's a total ball player. You tend to, you know, pigeonhole players like him into slugger. He's a slugger. No, he's a ball player. Very graceful athlete. He does a lot of little things to help your ball club, as you said, Paul.
Red Sox 5-1 over the Yankees. First game of the 3-game set. 5 runs on 8 hits for the Red Sox. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for the Yankees. Swing and a miss. So Severino struggles tonight, but he has given them 5 innings. So we go to the 6th. It's Boston 5 and the Yankees 1. Tomorrow, now our coverage begins at 6:30 on Yes. Then the game is going to be on Pix 11 at 7. And then after the game, you have post-game coverage. Then Thursday, it's all back on Yes. Starts at 6 with a batting practice show. 6:30 is the pre, and 7:07 will be first pitch from Fenway. So there is your lineup for the Yankees and the Red Sox, the remainder of this series. 5-1, top of the 6th inning. Didi Gregorius will lead off against Sale. And there's a strike.
I don't like to complain about the weather, but I really would like to put my winter coat away.
I had to break mine out.
The parka. Can I at least put the parka away? I mean,
you know what? Last year you guys made fun of me. I packed for 3 games. Willie had 2. This year I'm packing for 40-degree weather, and I don't have the outfit. Got no winter coats. I was down in Florida.
You left them all in Cincy, right?
Yeah, where it's still freezing and cold there too. A weird April, boy.
37 degrees right now here in Boston. Driving here this morning, it was snowing.
Nice.
On the Merritt, it was snowing. Lined and knocked down, but it trickles into right field. A base hit for Gregorius.
Boy, just a good at bat by Didi off a tough lefty. Hit the ball hard. Off the glove of Nunez, kind of tried to slide into it. That'd be a base hit, I would assume.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a hit all the way. Didi just doesn't give an inch, even on a tough lefty like Chris Sale.
Austin swings and misses.
Just looking for that one big swing to get you right back in it.
I'm thinking the same thing, Coney. And these 2 guys here, Austin and Duhar on deck. young guys that have that kind of bat speed, you're going to need something out of the ordinary. You know, a two-run shot, three-run shot to really light this team up, to feel like they got a chance to win. Unless I didn't like it. That hasn't been a pitch called tonight a lot. Inside on righties.
You can tell by the box, it's off the plate. High enough. When you're Chris Sale and you have good control, you tend to get the benefit of the doubt. It's not just about strikeouts with Chris Sale. It's the overall strikeout to walk ratio, 5.12 strikeouts to walk ratio, which is just incredible. To have that kind of stuff, 3 pitches, and also that kind of precision and control.
Fly ball left field, Benintendi there. 1 away. Sal might be, well, he's got the perfect last name, let's put it that way. One of the great bargains in all of baseball. He's in the final year of his 6-year, $45 million extension. But the Red Sox actually have an option for next year at $13.5 million. He would have been a free agent after the 2016 season, but they bought out some free agent years. So he was paid $31.5 million from 2013 to 2017. So if you go by Fangraph's dollar per win estimate, his value to the White Sox and the Red Sox was $226.4 million. So that kind of exceeded the total of 31.5 that he was paid.
A little bit.
Any way you slice it or dice it, there's some tremendous surplus value there.
Fly ball left field. And Andujar is retired. Yankees, Red Sox, everybody's here. All the big names in journalism, so the press box is packed.
That's just a yes booth, isn't it, Michael? The 9-man booth?
That's right.
Where are you? Get your own room.
You know, you straighten your tie walking down the hallway was one of the big hits of that,
was that right?
spot. Oh, yeah.
I haven't heard the reviews on it, other than a lot of people have seen it.
People loved it.
It was funny. I was walking around town, and today, and I haven't been here in a long time, and you forget, just when you're in when you're in New York, you see everybody's got Yankee stuff on, this and that, and I'm walking around, everybody's got Red Sox stuff on, Bruin stuff, Celtic stuff. It's just a city that loves their sports. A city that New York hates their sports. It's just like, it's amazing to me this rivalry has lasted this long, but it is truly there. A lot of Yankee fans here and a lot of Red Sox fans still. I mean, they like to go in and add so much to these games.
Last time you were here, you were starting in right field, right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think I had the night off.
Romine, sky high pop-up. Vasquez makes the play, and that'll do it here in the 6th. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. We got some more people coming into the booth. The 9-man booth, 9-person booth. Oh yeah, stay tuned. that?
I tell you one thing, you're not growing anything out there right now. Look, it's dead. It's freezing. You might be growing icicles at this point. Wishful thinking.
They're under frost warning right now.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
Right. Cover them up.
There's no tomato plants out there. I'll tell you that right now.
Tommy Kahnle takes over as Severino gave the Yankees 5. Grounded and grabbed there by Austin. Flips to Kahnle. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Gotta love that Coney, huh? Coming out of the bullpen, 1 pitch, 1 out.
Get over and cover first base, right?
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want.
Better be loose.
Now we all know playing baseball, even in cold weather, is not, pulling cable. But how difficult does it make the game when it's this cold?
You know what? For the most part, as an everyday player, if you're out there and you don't have an extended inning defensively, you're usually fine because you're going in the dugout, you're going in the locker room. Periodically you're going into something warm. It's just if you go have one of those 15, 20-minute innings where you're standing out in right field and Coney, the pitcher won't throw it over this plate, that's where you get cold. But there is, there is something about when you make contact and it's not on the barrel of the bat. It's not good.
That's ripped down the left field line, a base hit. Going to go to the monster, into the corner. Playing it out there is Stanton. And Betts is on base for the 4th time. 3 hits and a walk.
And Mookie Betts right now is at his best. And I don't see a weakness in his swing as far as a certain way you can get him out. He seems to be covering everything. This ball was supposed to be away, comes in. He still gets to it. At the end of this bat, he'll be sporting an over 400 average for the year.
Yeah, it's almost like Mookie Betts has got a little bit of an old school swing about get the barrel of the bat out in front. And he's so quick middle in. Does a good job of really getting the ball out in front. He's not a Jeter type swing or a lag, inside out. He really jumps on hard stuff middle in and gets the barrel of the bat to the ball out in front of the plate.
There's Benintendi with a triple, a double, and a walk, a couple of RBIs, and a run scored. Came into the game just 5 for 31 this year. Kahnle misses inside.
Mookie Betts reminds me, you know who he reminds me of? An old guy like Hal McRae.
Oh, he can hit.
The way the swing, the style.
Three and 0. Well, they green light Benintendi 3-0 with 1 out. And he takes ball 4. So that's going to put Hanley Ramirez up. We talked about, there was some doubt how many at-bats they would get Hanley Ramirez. Well, there's a financial aspect to it as well. If he gets 497 plate appearances, his 2019 vesting option kicks in for $22.5 million. I don't think they want to vest that option. But if he helps them win,
he's forcing the issue, and he already has early in the season. They are just a different team when he is the real Hanley Ramirez. He brings an element of power and run production that they really didn't have last year. I mean, we talked about this isn't your grandfather's Red Sox offense. You know, they were last in the American League in home runs last year. They did it a different way with speed and defense, good pitching. But if Hanley Ramirez has some power in that lineup, that changes their dynamic in the middle of the order.
Two and 0.
Went with the changeup there, Coney, after 2 fastballs away. Head get behind 2-0 and go to the 84-mile-an-hour changeup. See Hanley Ramirez and his dreadlocks way ahead.
Obviously, the speed of the pitch and the spin over the location, right down the middle. Ramirez tried to jump all over it, reading fastball.
Would you call time at home plate if he was taking that long?
That was a long time to wait as a hitter. And what you want to do as a hitter to kind of feel natural and moving a little bit where you keep a rhythm. Once in a while, if you get caught flat-footed, it's time to call timeout, Michael. Good job, Michael. It's early in the year, and you're right on top of things here. Huh?
Well, he's taking a long look at second. I mean, a real long look. Now, Canely has not been as sharp as he was last year. He just wasn't. And he's not around the plate as much, and Larry Rothschild's going to talk things over with him. And that's going to bring up J.D. Martinez. And we're going to take a look at the Jeep Hitter Scanner Report on the Red Sox free agent signing.
Well, he made a swing change a few years ago, and it was all about his launch angle, and all of a sudden he became a home run hitter. And the big results since 2014, he's averaged over 300, 32 home runs, and his slugging percentage is second in the major leagues behind Mike Trout. Quiet start. He's off to a little tough start. Again, he's got an adjustment coming to a big organization, expected to win first 8 games, but he's only hit 1 home run on Saturday here against Tampa Bay.
Well, make no mistake about it. I mean, there's a domino effect. And when the Yankees and Brian Cashman made the big Giancarlo Stanton trade, this was the answer. They felt much more pressure to sign Martinez and get him in here to counter that.
He's an interesting player, and you don't see it very often from the caliber of numbers that he's put up. But that wasn't too long ago. The Houston Astros had pretty much given up on him. And, you know, one of the ex-coaches brought him over to Detroit, and then you see what happened, and all of a sudden, you know, he worked on some things, and now, you know, he's one of the premier, you know, power hitters in the league. 45 home runs last year.
And when he signed with the Red Sox, it opened up an avenue for the Yankees to get Brendan Drury, because the Diamondbacks thought they still had a chance to sign Martinez before the Red Sox got him, and if they had kept him, they would not have had to make the trade for Steven Souza Jr., and it was that 3-way deal that brought Drury to the Yankees. And there's Dave Dombrowski, the GM of the Red Sox. 1-1. 1-2.
And when you look at all the moves that the Yankees have made, and Brian Cashman as the general manager, the left side of the infield is one of the biggest heists of all in his tenure here. Didi Gregorius, really essentially for Shane Green, is your starting shortstop and becoming a cult hero in New York. And then, as you said, Brendan Drury for really a couple of minor league extra pieces.
1-2. Foul ball, still 1-2. And if you're wondering, Drury has undergone a battery of tests about his headaches and his blurred vision. Yankees are still waiting for the test to come back. No real diagnosis at this point. One-two. High fly ball. Deep left center. Robinson turns, looks, and it's going to be off the wall. This might clear the bases. Nope, they hold up Ramirez at third. Throw behind him, he's back in time, but it's a 2-run double for Martinez, and it's 7-1 Red Sox.
This is what the Red Sox fans have been waiting for. Martinez, power hitter to drive in the big runs. Every once in a while, Fenway will give you a cheap home run and they'll take away one. This is high off the wall, 380 feet away. It's one that's usually out of most ballparks.
And on the left side of the yellow line is in play. Another one of the quirky ground rules here at Fenway.
Yankees bring the infield in for Devers. Fly ball to Robinson. Tagging is Ramirez. He scores easily, throw into third. It's a sac fly for Devers. And now the Yankees are trailing 8-1.
Well, the Red Sox pretty much look like a machine right now. And if you look at their stats over the for the year, you understand why their record is. I don't think they've made an error defensively. Their starting pitching's been off the charts good. Runners in scoring position off the charts. So they're, as a team, doing everything right now. But you know, the year's a long year. Things can change, injuries can happen. But right now, playing about as well as they can.
I think the last thing you expected on the Yankees side is that the bullpen would struggle this much this early. It continues here with 3 earned runs here in the bottom of the 6th.
Is Amir, or does Alex Cora look like he's like 12? I mean, he's got the ski cap over the. It looks really young. He's 42. First managerial chance. Looks like a kid. Chasing Shreve up.
You see with Canely, Coney, he's from last year to this year just not able to throw all 3 pitches for a strike at this point.
Yeah, his stuff looks very similar. It just seems like he's got himself into some jams and really paid the price with maybe 1 pitch here or there. And Tommy Canely kind of solved his command issues last year with a breakout year. It was something that kind of held him back early in his career when he was originally with the Yankees. Signed by the Yankees before he went to the White Sox and kind of found himself.
And he walks Nunez. So 3 walks in this inning. And Aaron Boone has seen enough. Canely has struggled, just had a couple of days off because of a long outing. And he returns after 3 days of rest and just does not have it. So the Yankees go to the bullpen.
Yeah, it's just encouraging for the Blue Jays to see him back. So much adversity last year. Finger issues, blister issues, led to ligament issues, really all kinds of problems. And he's still very young.
Remember this? Head-on collision in the East. That's Carlton Fisk and Lou Piniella. And those teams, I mean, it was a rivalry like it is now, but they didn't like each other. And this is not just a crash at the plate.
Is now going over to a couple of the Yankees, and there they go again.
And that's when Bill Lee separated his shoulder with that fight. And Jackie Bradley Jr. gets plunked by Chasen Shreve.
Right on cue, Michael.
Yep. And that'll load the bases.
He's always been a fire starter. You know that, Conan?
I was once at a Yankee Red Sox luncheon from, you know, they had players from the 70s there. And I think Bill Lee got up and said, Munson hated Fisk, Fisk hated Munson. He named everybody, he said, and everybody hated Lou. Those games were so fun to watch as fans, and to go to the games at Yankee Stadium.
And Spaceman Lee, he's still pitching somewhere up here in the Summer League.
Here's Vasquez. And a strike.
Michael, you look back at those times and you thought how exciting those games were. Do you think it's taken away a little bit that you play a team 18, 19 times?
No, I don't think so. I just think the personalities are different. I mean, those were real vibrant personalities.
Sure.
Ground ball to third, off the glove of Andujar. That'll be an E5, run scores, and it's 9-1 Red Sox.
That's another thing the Yankees have not done well, and that's catch the baseball. They're up in the league leaders in errors. Things go wrong there. A lot of things go wrong right here. Easy play, just off the end of the glove.
Now, they haven't scored it. I would think it's an E5, but we'll have to wait for the official score. Here's Brock Holt, who grounded out to first on the first pitch. So he has a chance to go 0 for 2. There's a strike. And it is an E5. Inside. 1-1. So you sell it as a pitcher's duel. The second place finisher in the Cy Young against the third place finisher. You look up, it's the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Red Sox lead 9-1.
It really looked like Severino dodged a bullet in the first, only giving up 1, and then right back out in the second inning with a 3 spot. That's a deflating feeling, you know, when you're going up against Chris Sale and you spot him 4 runs to work with in the first 2 innings.
Three and 1 on Brock Holt. Bases loaded, no place to put Holt. Ball 4, Holt walks, that forces in a run, and the Red Sox are in double digits. It's 10-1.
of those games, Coney, you kind of look at it as a manager and let's just hope we get this one out of our system. You know, the pitching, the hitting, the airs, everything. Let's just get it all out in one night and turn the page.
Well, here's Mookie Betts, 3 for 3, a walk, 4 runs scored. That's a good line for a leadoff hitter. Good line for any hitter. So Betts on the year now has 15 hits in 36 at bats, a .417 batting average. Joe Kelly is up. Strike.
Well, the problem when you have a game like this, the first time you match up with the Red Sox in Fenway, and you're staring at a 10-run game here, it's coming on the heels of a disappointing Baltimore series at home in the Bronx. A couple of tough losses. They lost 3 out of 4.
A couple of those games were the games that you, on paper before the year, if you're Aaron Boone, think that these are the games we'll win. And it comes down to the bullpen, the close games, and you know, the extra inning games. And next thing you know, you put together a homestand that you weren't happy with, and you're right. Then you walk right into Boston and get beat up game 1.
Drilled deep to left field. Is it high enough? See ya! A grand slam for Betts. And the Yankees are getting pummeled by the Red Sox. It's 14-1.
Betts, what else do you say? Kind of a career night. Been good swings all night.
Get another look. It's a splitter. Just sits right there. 83 miles an hour. Speeds up Betts' bat. And that's a laser off the back of the fence.
Benintendi fouls it back. Well, there's a reason to smile. You have 4 hits, 5 runs scored, a walk. What a night. And that's a career high 5 runs for Betts. Oh, 0-2.
On the other end of it, Paulie, is last year for the Yankees was, kind of a bit of a surprise. The success all the way almost to the World Series.
Ripped down the right field line, foul.
This year, high expectations.
Definitely a different way to come into the year. There's no doubt about it. You're expected to do a lot of things. And you know what? You're going into the 11th game of the year. I mean, so much can happen. But, you just expect to come out of spring training and just all on board, everything take off. And, it just has not happened that way. It doesn't mean that tomorrow might not change and you go on a 10-game winning streak. It's just the way the game is played. But, with new players and new manager, everybody's just can't wait to jump on the bandwagon to is this team really that good? Yeah, they are good, and they're good at every position when they're healthy, when they get their guys back, and when guys are playing the way they're supposed to.
Well, this is not one for the time capsule. The Red Sox have scored 9 runs on just 3 hits. The Yankees have walked 4 batters. They've hit a batter. They've committed an error. And that's how it comes out to 9 runs. And it's still not over as the count is 3-2 on Benintendi. It all started with Canely, who is not throwing with the command and the control that he had last year. Ground ball to second. This should finally do it. And it does. But a 9 spot. The big blow off the bat of Mookie Betts. His second home run of the year. He scored 5 runs in this game. And it's not a good night for the Yankees here in Boston. 14-1 Red Sox. .60. The splendid splinter in his last game at Fenway Park. In his last at bat, he hits a home run, rounds the bases, crowd cheering, and he would not tip his cap. He had a love-hate relationship with the Boston fans, and as he got older and he returned back, then the love was even greater and it was reciprocated. But as a player, they kind of butted heads, the Red Sox fans and Ted Williams. Number 9. New pitcher is Joe Kelly coming in to pitch the 7th inning.
It didn't take long to get Ted Williams in your mind. When you come into Boston, you land, go right through the Ted Williams tunnel just to get to downtown.
Smart move by Cora. Get Sale out of there. The one thing that's you see the Cadillac scoreboard 14-1. We mentioned this in the first inning. Sale is great for 4.5 months. And if you look at his career, he does have a drop-off. He's very, very slim, not a big guy whatsoever. And he runs out of gas just a little bit. So why not take him out and save some innings when the team's up 14-1?
No reason to push. It's a great point, Michael. 87 pitches from Sale tonight. This is the time you do give your starter a break. These innings are kind of meaningless when you have such a big lead. We said it before, Paulie. You know, the Red Sox won the division last year. As you see, Swihart's at first base now. 2 years in a row, they've won the American League East Division. Holt's moving over to second.
And Zhu Wei Lin is at short.
They do a lot of little things well. This is one of the, this isn't, you know, I mentioned it before. This isn't your grandfather's Red Sox. They play really good defense. Bradley in center and Betts in right. Man, that part of Fenway Park better than anybody ever has. Defensively in terms of range.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the 10th game for them. They came in 8-1. They have not made an error as a team this year. And, you know, that's goes back to what you were saying, Coney. I mean, they catch the ball. They have good at bats with runners in scoring position.
Well, that pitch by Kelly was 98 miles an hour, and the fast pitch speed analytics brought to you by Fios. You know, we talk about a rivalry with these two teams. Yankees beat the Red Sox 11 of 19 times last year, but since 2013, the Yankees have won 48, the Red Sox have won 47. The Yankees have had 106 home runs against the Red Sox 105 against the Yankees. Each team has exactly 291 extra base hits, and that's coming into this game, although the Red Sox have taken the lead on a couple of those categories as Robinson picks up a leadoff single against Kelly. Some of the suite level accommodations here at Fenway Park. Going out toward the green monster seats.
It was funny, Coney and I were talking before the game. I mean, they have made some minor adjustments, that being one of them, the seats behind the green monster. But, you know, this ballpark looks like it did basically when we were playing, Coney. It just has not changed that much over the years.
Tyler Wade is pinch hitting for Neil Walker. Wade missed a couple of games after a bout with the flu. Second inning of a game, he just suddenly started shaking and shivering, and D.D. Gregorius looked over to him and said, "What's wrong with you?" And he said, "I don't know. I can't even feel my legs." Then he started dry heaving and stayed in the game for a while. But then went to Boone and said, "Listen, I'm not helping the team like this. I'm just not. I'll keep playing, but I'm not helping the team." And they took him out. And he was in pretty bad shape for a couple of days and had some color back in his face on Sunday. And here he is pinch hitting for Neil Walker. And they shift for Wade, a big shift.
Alex Cora, obviously coming from the Houston Astros, who were very progressive in their defensive shifting, really almost pioneering, and still continue to be, employing 4 outfielders this year against Joey Gallo at times, and different hitters. Alex Cora is really, he's been on record as buying into it. You know, some of the data, the new data that's out there on ground balls. I think it's still hard for some people to adjust to, and especially people who have played the game, you know, yourself included. But it seems like there is data to support where these ground balls go, even in a 14-1 game with a guy like Tyler Wade, who doesn't have a lot of power as of yet. They're going to play like that's how they used to play Ted Williams. This shift right here.
David, this has to be data that was generated to AAA. He just doesn't have enough at bats to do this in the big leagues. It has to be AAA data.
Partially, and it really falls into line with really just ground ball data, generally speaking, off of left-handed bats.
Ground ball, right side. There's one. That's all they'll get. So that was a 6-5 force. And here's Aaron Judge, one of the few Yankees who's had a night. He is 3 for 3. Just a monster home run into the bleachers in center. That was out in an eye blink, traveled 444 feet, his 3rd home run of the year.
You see Kelly, I mean, he broke on the scene a few years ago. I mean, here he is at 100 mile an hour, and, you know, Cora has him in at this situation for a reason, to get him some work. Him into the game with an ERA over 10. Has not been himself yet.
Now, we talked about Judge and how, you know, so many things happened over the winter. Video games, things like that, signing endorsement contracts. And he told Meredith Marakovits this spring that he's out to prove that he is not a one-hit wonder. And he still has his 2016 batting average, which was 179, in the top of his notes on his iPhone, because he doesn't want to forget what they felt like. And he wants him to remember to continue to put in the work. So that's what drives him. 1-2.
Get all the goals.
Well, Meredith gave that one.
Is that right?
Yeah. What's in your note section of your iPhone?
You know, milk, bananas, blueberries. Probably the last thing I told myself. Mama told me to get at the store. So
some passwords, maybe?
No, I don't know any of those. I'll tell you one thing. Is there anything worse than going on wanting to buy something you can't buy it because you don't know a password? I'm sitting there.
Ground ball is short. There's one. And there's two. A 6-4-3 double play. No runs.
Saved by the double play.
No errors. Nobody left. We're going to get Paul's password. We'll be back in a moment. Won, but you did it against Tampa Bay and Miami. Well, now it's against the Yankees, and it's 14-1. Time for the game summary, brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 14-11-0, beating 1-9-2. Severino won 5. Sal won 6. Mookie Betts has had a night. 5 runs scored, career high for him. Aaron Judge 3 for 4 and a solo home run into the center field seats. Blake Swihart will lead off against Shreve. Little Yankee history lesson now. On this date in 1913, the Yankees played their first ever game with the Yankees as their official name. Prior to that, they were known as the Americans, but referred to as the Hilltoppers or the Highlanders. So this year, this date, 1913, first time they were officially the New York Yankees. Cadillac first pitch, Cadillac score is 14-1.
Got you flustered, Michael.
Yes.
We're talking in your ear over here.
And Woodrow Wilson threw out the first pitch in that game when they were the Yankees, and that was a game in Washington. Tyler Wade takes over at second after pinch hitting for Walker. Swing and a miss. Swihart down on strikes. Brian Johnson up. You guys went through it in 1998, which, I mean, many people could argue the best team ever. 125-50 if you count the 11 wins in the postseason. You started 1-4. So 5-6, as we'll assume that the Yankees will lose this game. It's not terrible. It's certainly not the way you planned it. When does a speech take place? When does a meeting take place? Do those things ever have any impact?
Yeah, they can. I think if they're overdone, you kind of get used to it. I mean, Joe Torre was always the best at that because he didn't have a lot of them. So if you had one, it meant something. And it usually wasn't a screaming thing. That it was kind of a relax, look in the mirror. Let's realize that his big thing was the cream will come to the top. And by the time you left that meeting, you actually believed it. It wasn't like you kind of took away the panic and realized the length of the season. And a bad night on a baseball field is not the end of the world. It happens. I mean, you're going to have it the other way too, where the Yankees beat up somebody 15-1. It's just the way it is.
Did you have a meeting at 1-4 in '98? You did, David?
Yeah. We started in Seattle that year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a meeting very early because we had that the horrible start, and we mixed it up a little bit with Seattle, and that's kind of set us on our way.
Remember the meeting, David?
I do remember very well. It was, there were whispers back then, that Joe Torre might be on the block, that potentially jobs were on the line, even early in that season. So, there was a sense of urgency back then. George Steinbrenner was very involved in the decision-making at that point. And
seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
there was also some issues too, as you remember very well. Lou Piniella used to like to have one of his pitchers fire one at your coconut.
It's usually the first time up.
Once a series, and then that was going on, and there was nothing worse, as you see Luis Cessa getting hot right now. Nothing worse than you get division among the pitching staff and the hitters feel like, oh, we're getting thrown at here, and our pitchers aren't protecting us, or at least letting the opposing team know that, hey, we're not going to allow this to happen. And that was part of that meeting, if I remember correctly.
20 years ago.
Amazing.
In between innings, again, checking Twitter a little bit. Mark Feinsand is a good writer, been around a long time. Put out an interesting tweet, and he said, in 2009, the year the Yankees won the World Series, they lost their first 8 games to the Red Sox and trailed by 5 games in June, just to sort of illustrate what you were saying, Paulie, how long the season is.
That's funny because you come into the year as a fan and you're excited to get it going, but you want it to happen now. You want everybody to have their year, and it just it's a long process. Better at the end than it is now. Take it away, Michael.
All right,
I need a little help.
Strikes out the side. We'll go to the 8th. 14-1. This is what Seattle always did to Paul.
You got to bring back some good memories here. Yep, there we go. A little up and in again.
And then
we were getting killed at the time. That's why I was mad. That's all.
Oh, we've got to keep rolling.
Why? I got no comment.
No. Look at you. I mean, wow.
See Strawberry in the middle. I'll never forget the next day we walked in there. And Straw came kind of limping in. He's like, "Oh, Neil, you got to stop this stuff, man." Because Straw took on half the bullpen.
Look at young A-Rod there.
A-Rod's thinking, what is wrong with this dude? It's all in the fun. It was all stage, Michael.
I mean, you were legitimately upset.
What, you think?
They always did that all the time.
Once a game, that's all.
Hyundai scoreboard 14-1. Red Sox lead the Yankees first game of this 3-game set. Count 3-0. Johnson on against Stanton. And there's a strike. He's made a start. This is his 3rd game. Stanton singled to right his last time up. Now the count 3-2.
It's funny because Brian Johnson, I'm just looking at this thinking to myself, he came to Yankee Stadium with my nephew. They were both playing in the Cape Cod League. This is, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And I left him tickets and he came up and now, you know, you see a year later, I think he went to Florida or Florida State. He's drafted. Now here he is in the major league. So it just, the generations of ball, they just keep coming.
That's a rocket to left field for Stanton. It goes to the wall. Stanton's going to round first. He's going to go to second. The throw from Benintendi, not in time. So do you see anything better with Stanton now? The base hit to right, then he turns that one.
Well, a little more confidence. I mean, again, one hit leads to your next at bat, which is another good at bat. And you really got to fight yourself. Okay, I got to hit. Now let's not leave the zone and try to hit a home run to make up for something. That's the worst thing you can do as a hitter. And that's just another good swing. Again, that level swing, but his strength behind it doesn't even look like he's swinging, but he gets extension, and he is so strong that he's the type of hitter that just muscles the baseball, and he can hit it out with any part of the ballpark.
Sanchez takes low. Sanchez, not as much of the spotlight shines on him as it does on Stanton, but Sanchez is really off to a bad start. He is 2 for 35. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And, the early betting line amongst insiders in the game was that Stanton was going to be the most valuable player of this team. People just felt he was poised to have an unbelievable year. I'm not saying that he won't, but he's gotten off very slowly.
I think we all thought that with Gary Sanchez because a lot of the pitchers would pitch around Judge and Stanton. And it would all fall right to Sanchez with a lot of opportunities.
Oh. 2-1.
And Sanchez is too good of a hitter. By all accounts, most people feel like, technically speaking, his swing is as good as anybody's in that lineup.
That's another thing you'll see up there. And on cold nights, every once in a while, your eyes will start watering, and it kind of gets blurry. And to hit, you got to be able to see. Gary Sanchez, to me, when he's doing well, obviously is driving the ball to right center, and then a hit breaking ball is out. Where he has a lot of movement right now, and it all starts with his leg kick. Ball just missed there. Pretty good swing, just missed it.
Catch is made by Bradley, and Stanton stays put.
See that front hip just open a little bit quick, and a ball that he could really drive in a good solid swing. Just didn't quite hit the barrel squarely.
The human element comes into play, right? You get a little jumpy, you're anxious.
It's so natural for hitters to try to make up for slow starts with home runs. Let's hit a couple home runs and make up for everything, and then it just compounds itself a little bit.
Gregorius takes low. 2 more hits for Didi in 3 at-bats. So he has 14 hits and 35 at-bats for a robust 400 batting average, with 3 homers and 10 ribbies. Boone has said that they challenged Didi, coming off a great year last year, be a little bit more selective at the plate, maybe pick up a couple more walks, but don't let it affect your power. And he's done everything that they asked, because he has picked up the walks, and he's having the best year of any Yankee over the first 11 games as he pops one up there for the second out.
And pitchers are going to start pitching him a little more carefully as well. But you're right, Michael. I mean, it's such a small sample size, and we try to. It's easy to make too much out of these first few games. But Gregorius, already 9 walks on the year. He had 25 all of last year. You go back to 2016, he only had 19 walks in 153 games. So yeah, the trend certainly is Didi taking another step, becoming even better.
Not sure what's going on here, whether or not he has a bloody nose, but the athletic trainer came out. And I think that's what's going on. So he does have a bloody nose. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. (14-1) Red Sox over the Yankees. Runner on second with 2 outs. Tyler Austin waiting for Johnson to tend to the bloody nose. Little cotton swab up there. No one throwing in the Red Sox bullpen. And they're just trying to get the residual blood off of his face. Remember, keep it here after the final out on Yes. For the WB Mason postgame, and get highlights, analysis, and reaction from the clubhouse, plus get scores and highlights from around the majors. That's all coming up. It's only on Yes.
I think the highlights are going to be real short on that one, Michael, huh?
Well, Yankee highlights for sure. You've got the Judge home run. And remember, after that, David Favorite, center stage premiere, Sarah Jessica Parker. This is the first game, by the way, that Aaron Boone has worn a Yankee uniform in a game against the Red Sox since the home run in 2003, because that little postseason basketball game voided the remainder of his contract. And now Boone's going, why is he getting warm-ups? He said, let's go. So Johnson says he's okay.
Chance to take out a little frustration, you know?
I was going to say, when it's
projecting.
14-1, some things will irritate you more than they usually would.
Austin, fly ball to right. Betts right there, and that'll do it. So the leadoff double by Stanton is wasted. We're going to the bottom of the 8th inning. All Red Sox, 14-1. Now tomorrow, another good battle. Masahiro Tanaka against David Price, who's yet to give up an earned run this year. And that game is going to be on Pix 11, so our pregame will be on Yes at 6:30. Game time on Pix 11 at 7, and then the postgame on Yes as well. Then Thursday, everything's back on Yes. 6 o'clock start with the BP show, 6:30 pregame show, 7 o'clock first pitch. It's Sonny Gray against Rick Porcello. Luis Cessa will take over. And he deals outside to Eduardo Nunez. No, this is Lynn. I apologize. They had made those changes. Zhu Wei Lin. Hyundai scoreboard 14-1. Boston over the Yanks.
Coney, looking back, these games like this are much easier to go in there, eat, get on the bus, and get ready for tomorrow than the heartbreaking 2-1. You know, games like this, you're just like, all right, we just got beat. And we're going to come out, we'll get them tomorrow. It's those games like you were talking about last weekend against Baltimore, that you just felt like they were in your hands. You should have won those games. You can't get them back. Those games haunt you much more than the 14-1 variety.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't flush this one quick enough.
And a swing and a miss by Lynn. He's down on strikes against Cessa. Ronald Torreyes takes over at second base. Wade, who was playing second, now moves to center. And Robinson, who was playing center, now moves to left. So Stanton gets the rest of the night off. Here's Jackie Bradley Jr.
I think Aaron Boone is looking like this was kind of a night where Stanton kind of turned things around. Boom, boom, strikeout, strikeout. Then all of a sudden a couple hits. Hey, let's get him out of the game, get him in there to think about the positive things that happened in a blowout. And, you know, little things like this can mean a lot to a player. And I think it's a smart thing as a manager to look into things like this.
Swing and a miss. So striking out for the first 2 times and a couple of base hits. Does he take that into tomorrow against David Price? Ground ball to Torreyes.
Paulie, go back to December 2015. Brian Cashman made a move that kind of was a head scratcher at the time, and going to trade Justin Wilson for a couple guys over in Detroit. One's named Chad Green and the other is Luis Cessa. And fast forward to today, it's like, whoa, okay. You know, and Cessa's the second piece of the puzzle. We know about Chad Green. His breakout year last year. Cessa's got a nice arm. I think he plays up bigger in the pen, although he's a rotation depth as well.
Every once in a while, you'll get him on a day where you're like, wow, this guy could really do some things.
Line right at Austin, and Cessa works a 1-2-3 inning. 9th inning coming up for the Yankees. They're down by 13, 14-1. 3 against the Tigers. Derek Jeter's Miami Marlins coming to Yankee Stadium Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is an off day, and then the Toronto Blue Jays. Yankees split 4 with them to open the season. They'll have 4 with them in the Bronx. So that's the next couple of weeks for the New York Yankees. And Duhar leads off the 9th inning, takes outside. The hits are close, the runs are not. And there's the strike. You always wonder about something that will snap a team to attention. Nothing in a disciplinary way. I mean, they're trying, they want to win, but you need something to create energy. And then you keep looking down at the box score at Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and Gleyber Torres is hitting. And you wonder, when does he get the call where he might provide a spark for the Yankees? I'm not sure, just thinking out loud, but he's certainly been impressive of late down in Scranton.
Yeah, I think that you do worry much more about, if you're Aaron Boone, the younger players that are struggling than you do Stanton and some of the veterans, because they have a track record. And young guys that aren't accustomed to struggling, and then you come up to the major league level, you don't want to bury a young kid where he loses all his confidence. But, you know, there are some players in AAA that are ready for the major leagues. It's just a matter of when.
He's coming off Tommy John surgery, his non-throwing arm, his left elbow, and he struggled in spring training. But it seems like he's starting to round into the. I mean, he's on different lists. He's the first or second best prospect in all of baseball.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when, not if. Obviously, with Torres.
And the one thing that does, kind of get your attention is. See strike 3 right on the outside corner is the length that he has had off. And, get off to a good start. You'd like to see him, put 20 or 30 games together just to get into to playing the game again. I mean, that's a long break that he had with that surgery.
And they have him playing at second. They have him playing at third. So they're putting him at different positions, which was the plan. Yankees also made a trade with the Mets today. They acquired Lee Mazzilli's son, L.J. Mazzilli, from the Met minor league system. And a strike.
Yeah, L.J.'s a good kid. And really a nice move for the Yankees to be able to do that. Obviously, Lee, his father, involved with the Yankees organization still. And
count 1-2. Romine 0 for 3 tonight. Couple of strikeouts. Foul out to the catcher, Vasquez. And he swings and misses, so he will strike out for the 3rd time, put out his 2-3. And the Yankees are down to their final out here at Fenway Park. And here's Shane Robinson. Singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Lined. Foul. Many in the crowd of 32,357 made their way home on a cold, chilly Tuesday evening here in Boston.
I don't think it's getting any much better tomorrow either. Another cold night expected, and I think Thursday is supposed to be much better.
One and one. So Sale will get his first victory of the year, and Severino will suffer his first loss. So Severino will go 2-1. Sale goes 1-0. 2 hits for Stanton as he's trying to break out of a slump.
Dustin Pedroia sighting.
Yeah, he's going to be sent out for a rehab. Major knee surgery during the offseason. That was one of the reasons they signed Nunez, because they knew that Dustin Pedroia was not going to be ready for a while as Robinson works a walk. And that brings up Tyler Wade.
Another kid that, I mean, you look at Tyler Wade, and he did struggle offensively last year, but he had a great spring training. You expect good things from him offensively. This year he could help this offense because he's a speed guy, different way of scoring runs. I hope that he can get over this sickness, get back in the lineup, and start producing offensively.
They shift for Wade, as we mentioned before. 3 infielders on the right side. And the Yankees are down to their final strike. It's 1-2 on Wade. Missed outside, 2-2. Tomorrow, Tanaka against Price. Red Sox about to go 9-1. The Yankees will drop under 500 at 5-6. Foul ball to stay alive. Last game you ever played at Fenway, Paul, was the near perfect game by Mike Messina, so this is a little different.
I remember sitting by him on the plane that night. I didn't know what to do, whether I should talk to him or not, and I just kept looking over, and finally he kind of broke the ice. Kind of second-guessed the pitch, but it's, Coney, you were in that situation with no hitters a few times, and then you had the perfect game. So, I'm sure you can go through every single pitch in those games that, you gave up that hit. You just second-guess yourself a little bit. Exciting night, though.
It's hard not to. I mean, Messina was as good as I'd ever seen him that night. He was 1 pitch away. Proverbial 2 outs, 0-2 count.
Ground ball right side. Swihart's there, flips to Johnson, and that will end a long night for the Yankees. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. And the Red Sox win their 9th straight game. And the Yankees, they had to think things over as they drop the first game of this 3-game set against the Red Sox. So much more to come here from Fenway, but what we'll do is we'll go back to the studio where Bob